focused on my serious reason why I'm here. I'm one of those people who strongly believes in the whole truth movement and making sure that everyone has the same information and so on. And I've heard you answer this question many times, but I need the language to be able to answer to people. And that is that people are fearful of your concept. Well, not only of the change, but they're so concerned about the New World Order and all that stuff, and they can't understand how this is just as benevolent, but not with the creepy part of the New World Order and the bad guys.
Would you mind framing that question when we get back?
Sure.
Because I would like everybody to get the answer.
Okay.
I'm studying marine science at the university at sea. And when the kids graduate, they clean up the ocean and learn how to do that. These are different types of cities in the sea. And this is a flying instructor. He said, when you draw my picture of Roxanne, and she drew his picture, I think she's a good illustrator.
Absolutely.
And what she used to do is over here. This is what Roxanne used to do. She used to build models for architects. She's a good model builder, very good.
Wow.
And then China began to print buildings, and she couldn't compete, and she cut out completely. So she lost her job. And
well, it was a mortgage crisis that was the last job I had.
and this is where we do videotapes, and we make films, we do DVDs, and we make booklets here. No one would print our books, so we had to print them ourselves. So I had to sell my house to get the money to print the books. That's why we sell the books. I don't like to sell them, I wish I could give them away. So for instance, why do you sell books? I said, well, if you donate $1,000, I'll give $1,000 worth of books away.
Exactly.
The government doesn't come here and say, Jacque, you're doing a wonderful job, no taxation. So we try to work on it. Thank you. So follow me.
Amazing.
And this long drought, the water evaporated. It's Larry King. And I said to Larry privately that cigarettes produce cancer, but it takes 15 to 20 years for it to really aggravate the body. Then he said, well, what do you think of American automobiles? I said, Larry, if you have an airbag in front of you and you get hit on the side, your head goes right through the glass. The whole inside has to be an airbag. So he says, why don't they do that? Larry, I can't answer that. But he said, can you come here and talk about the future and leave out the cigarettes and all that? They pay a lot of money for us to advertise Pall Mall or whatever the hell you got out there, the Chevy cars. They pay to have that done. And we earn a living that way. If I have you on, I will lose all that. Do you understand, John? I said, yes. He said, can you not talk about that? Yes, I can, but I won't, Larry. Then I can't have you on anymore. Do you understand that? The reason I'm not on TV and radio news, because I attack everything in the system that hurts people. Do you understand that? But they don't even let me speak at the university, because I dropped out when I was almost 14 years old. I have no credentials. You know what that means? I have no PhDs. So what happened is a guy named Peter Joseph came up with a Zeitgeist movement, and it was the most watched program on TV. And people asked him, okay, now that the banks are corrupt and they shaft people, what can we do about it? He said he didn't know. So Roxanne sent him our book, and he flew out here, and all he did was read from our book, which is what to do about it. Venus Project is not concerned with attacking the culture. If you don't offer an alternative, you leave people in midair. And Peter Joseph said, well, I understand what the Venus Project is. I said, no, you have to come out here and learn more about it. He said, no, I got the idea. I can make the movie and everything else. I said, it won't work that way. then you're going to have to go your way, we'll go our way. So we split with the Zeitgeist movement, because the Zeitgeist movement did point out the shortcomings of America, but they did not offer an alternative. Oh, they wanted decent people in government. Even if you elected the most decent people in the world, if you ran out of resources, there'd be lying, cheating, and stealing.
Yep.
You have to come up with an alternative way. And the alternative is to point out to people, if we bring all the nations together and take away all the artificial boundaries that separate people and treat them, share all the Earth's resources with all the world's people, and innovation where we have a shortage of resource, I better explain that to you. We blockaded Germany from getting rubber from Sumatra during World War II. We had warships out there. So the Germans invented synthetic rubber, butadiene. And they made tires for their airplanes and jeeps. They didn't care to block it. I think that if you ask scientists to make a synthetic wallboard that we're running out of, they can do it. I believe we can solve. But when the government turned to scientists, can you put a man on the moon? They did. They did everything. They made bombers that can carry poison gas and everything that the government asked for. Scientists ought not to work on that. They ought not to give government these wonderful ideas. They should work on social problems only. Mm-hmm. That's why I say there's no such thing as a scientist today.
Right.
Most of the scientists work for the establishment. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Isn't that they're bad? There's nothing else that they're never taught anything.
Nothing
else.
pays.
They don't understand that they are the future. That the future will do surveys and build hospitals proportionate to how many people are that are sick. You don't just build a hospital hoping business will fill it. Hospitals today tell doctors don't spend more than 20 minutes with each person and move on, because they can't operate except at a profit. And the hospitals I'm talking about are totally different. They don't operate that way. And nobody owns anything in the future. This city is owned by all the world's people. All the Earth's resources are owned by all the world's people. Like we own some acreage here. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in building an example to show people. But what we do is we build 1/8 of the system and we reproduce it. That saves a lot of money, and we standardize the buildings so that all the windows are the same. New York City, every building's a different size. All the windows are different. The doors are made by different companies. The piping and plumbing is all different. If you standardize, you can house everybody on Earth with a very high standard of living. We feel that the millionaires today will be better off under a resource-based economy than they live today.
Very rational, good explanation.
No,
you have to wait until the system falls and hits them.
They have to be under stress. They have to lose their home.
That's what I'm
their
saying.
Job.
That's what I'm saying.
If they can't get a job, they'll look for it.
Yes, it has to hit them directly. And so get to as many people as you can. And it might take a long time, and some people aren't worth putting the effort to.
Right.
You know, Jacque.
Yeah, you know when you hit the brick wall, for sure. Yeah.
But this is why we want to do a major motion picture, and this is why we do films, because we feel it hits more people in the fastest amount of time.
Yeah, it definitely
It's
does.
a very good avenue.
Would you mind showing him the Arabian film?
Sure. Do you want, I mean, it's eased up some, it's drizzly a little. We can do umbrellas if you'd like to walk around first.
Well, is it